Trade news yesterday, Commanders are sending their quarterback, Sam Howell, plus a 4th-round pick and a 6th-round pick to Seattle in exchange for a 3rd and a 5th in this year's draft. Okay, so Howell will back up and probably provide a little competition for Geno Smith out in Seattle. But Washington now, having officially signed Marcus Mariota this week, they currently hold the 2nd overall pick in the NFL draft in late April, 41 days away from that. They've got a new head coach in Dan Quinn. They have a new offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury. Peter, what is Washington up to?
Yeah, we knew that Howell was out the door the second they signed Mariota. You wouldn't have 2 different veteran quarterbacks in there if you're thinking about quarterback at number 2. I'm still not 100% sure they are drafting a quarterback at number 2. I think they could either move up to number 1 if something crazy happens with Chicago and try to get Caleb Williams in there, or move down and collect even more assets. Here's the thing. They have 6 picks in the top 100 of this draft. Their free agent signings this week have been very veteran-based. So you're talking about Austin Eckler, who's one of the true great guys of the league, but also a veteran in the running backs room. Bobby Wagner as a linebacker. Zach Ertz as a tight end. You go top to bottom. All these guys that they brought in, a lot of them are going to be the ones in the meeting rooms who are going to be leading those sessions. They can get Drake May or Jaden Daniels at number 2. I think you have a really nice start to this rebuild under Dan Quinnell's name. But I'm wondering if do they have another guy that they're looking at? Is there another quarterback? Maybe they want to trade back a little bit, collect even more picks. I will say this. I give their free agent week an A. But if Marcus Mariota is starting week 1 and you don't have a top rookie quarterback as the backup or starting, I don't know what to make of this offseason, because this is the quarterback draft. You have the number 2 pick, and you just let Sam Howell walk out the door. I know that Caleb is the number 1 for everybody, but you have to fall in love with Jaden or Drake May as well, or even J.J. McCarthy. I'd be fascinated if Washington got too cute here and didn't take a quarterback at number 2.
Yeah, to your point, you have 2 veterans, you get rid of 1, you assume that's for a rookie quarterback to come in. And the Chicago piece is so interesting because, all right, we're looking and Justin Fields is still there. And you made a great point, Peter, earlier, where you're like, hey, if they're all in on Caleb, they still can't feel confident. They haven't been able to get a medical on him, and they still have to just go through the process before they make that decision. But the fact that Fields is still there, you wonder from teams around the league who are also quarterback needy, do they start to flirt with an opportunity to maybe try to move up and get to one?
Talk about it.
Also look at the Washington Commanders. They can sign a veteran and draft a rookie. They choose to go out and get Marcus Mariota. So they had Jacoby Brissett there a year ago. They let Jacoby walk in free agency. They bring in Mariota, a dual-threat quarterback. We know what he was at Oregon when he was running all over the place, drafted by Tennessee. I look at Jaden Daniels, who's in college, and he's coming out. He's looked at as one of the top 3, 2, whatever you want to put him as quarterback prospects. He has ability to run. He also threw for a ton of yards in college as well. I always thought about a team makeup. If I'm a coach or I'm a GM, whoever my starting quarterback is, I want my backup quarterback to be somewhat in the same vein. That way, if somebody goes down, or a game or 2, we don't have to change our entire offense. I remember being in Tennessee, having our guy Ryan Fitzpatrick as a backup quarterback, and when I think it was Jake Locker got injured and he came in, we had to change the entire offense because Fitzmagic wants to throw the ball. It's not just going to play action and go deep. I look at Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota, and I start to wonder, are there some similarities in skill set and what they possibly could do that the Commanders could be looking at like, hey, we think a Mariota in that room could be a very good voice for a Jaden Daniels. He was there with Carr and different quarterbacks, so he can talk about those things, but just his own experiences, when to tuck it, when to throw the ball, when to take the sack, all of those nuances within the game, it just gets me thinking, are there some similarities between those two when you start to say Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and start to compare them?
Remember this, Marcus Mariota was a very highly hyped Heisman Trophy winning number 2 overall pick, which is exactly what Jaden Daniels would be. And they were asking Marcus about that, and he wasn't, he was self-aware in the press conference. He didn't come in there saying, I want to start 18. He said, I'm here for whatever they need me to be. I want to be a part of this team, and I would love to start, but I would also be a great mentor in that room. You played with Marcus when he was young.
Yes.
He's got the gray hair now. He's a little older.
Is
he that veteran? Like, we know that, a Josh McCown is. We know that a Chase Daniels. Is Marcus Mariota that guy who's going to say, hey, youngster, let me come under my wing?
I think so, and we all watched Quarterback on Netflix, and we saw when Marcus, when they decided to move on from him as a starting quarterback, he took off and he went to Vegas and he rehabbed. I think some of what Marcus Mariota has been through since being in the NFL, that wisdom, if that's bestowed on somebody, you got to think about it. This guy was drafted to the Tennessee Titans when Ken Wisenhunt was our head coach. He was getting killed behind the offensive line that we had. Then he goes to another coach, Mike Mularkey. Then he has a new GM come in, and John Robinson. Then he's going to the Raiders. He's behind Derek Carr. All of those NFL experiences now you can pour into somebody because he can say, hey, Jaden Daniels, and I was a second overall pick. Yeah. I was a Heisman Trophy winner, and I still went through all of this humbling process of being in the NFL. So I definitely think that he has that. And if he's saying those things in a press conference, when you've played for that long, you've gone through those experiences, now it's just a willingness to be able to give that energy back. And I think he's the type of guy in the right scenario. Just backed up Jalen Hurts in Philly. When he just watched a crumble go down in Philadelphia. So I think even that wisdom, I think he can be a great mentor to a young quarterback.
Yeah. And to Jamie's point early on about the trade, with the new coach, new offensive coordinator, it was something that was bound to happen. And that's signs that's pointing that the Washington Commanders have found their quarterback. We don't know which quarterback that it is just yet, but they have found their quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the draft if they take Jaden Daniels or Drake Mayers, or if they try to collect some more picks to move back to find the right guy who they think fits their scheme. So Washington, I believe they're moving in the right direction with the new regime that they have coming in there.
Peter, you know Cliff Kingsbury really well. So he leaves Arizona, he goes back to USC for a second stint, works with Caleb Williams, interviewed with the Bears. Everyone lost their mind when that happened because they just assumed that he was going to take that job and be with Caleb again. And then he goes to Washington instead of taking the Bears job. Is Cliff Kingsbury still viewed as like a quarterback guy, a whisperer? Like, how much is his voice going to be heard in this room in terms of the guy and if he really badly wants to work with Caleb again?
I think his voice will be very highly valued. Not only because he's the offensive coordinator, but that he knows these guys from the college game so well, where he was obviously in last year and saw a lot of these guys and has been studying film on all of them. Cliff is a huge Caleb fan, I'm not gonna lie, like loves Caleb. Cliff was a huge Kyler fan coming out of college, and he had him. Like, if you can't get to number one, you're not going to be able to get Caleb Williams. So you better start shifting and say, okay, let's start thinking about these other quarterbacks. I also think Cliff gets put into this box of like quarterback stuff. He likes to design plays and offenses, and his whole thing is scheme and how do I get guys open. And like he was so excited about Austin Eckler. You know, I was talking to him the other day. I was like, Eckler. He's like, oh, I can't wait to use him on the outside. So his whole thing is holistic. It's 360, and if one of these quarterbacks is there and great, fine. But I think to them, it's like the greater part as a whole, and whoever's at the switch, that's going to be determined probably by the general manager and the head coach.